we're gonna touch on a couple things. Of course, y'all all know the climate of the world right now. We're gonna get to that like toward the end, but right now, we're just gonna talk about, you know, really black men in the creative space and how we reshaping the blueprint, how people view us, and I'll probably say like different standards that we break in, and we just reshaping the mold, man. It's a lot of people in here that are shifting the paradigm. So we're just gonna touch on that today. We're gonna get a little bit into like what they do specifically, and then we're gonna take some questions from y'all at the end. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. So I'm gonna let these beautiful people on the panel introduce themselves. My first question is, I'll just introduce yourselves first, and then we'll get into the question.
I could go first. My name is David Webb. About, I think, a year and a half ago, I started a production company called Atlas Productions. We do, mainly, music videos. We've done some commercial spots. Anything video related. We can handle. So, yeah, I'm from Durham, North Carolina, and I'm 25.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go second. Hi guys, I'm DNP Lee. I'm a fashion stylist based here in New York. Originally from North Carolina. Been styling for about 5 years now, with mainly my expertise. I usually style male talent and menswear. So, yep, that's that.
Word up. My name is Nate Lewis. I'm 24. I'm a writer and editor at Hypebeast. I write mostly about music, style, and just anything pop culture. Been in the industry maybe about like 3-4 years now.
Where you from, Nate?
I'm from New York. I was born in the Bronx, New York.
Okay.
I live in Jersey now, but I work in the city still.
Okay. All right, so before I get into any questions, I'm gonna introduce myself. My name is Frank Jackson. My artist name is Frank Have Mercy. I do music, I design. I'm also the creative director for F. Mercy Studios, clothing line that I started probably about 5 or 6 years ago with one of my partners. So we'll get into the first question here. People kind of touched on it a little bit, but so the first question is what do you all do? And I guess we'll go in the same order that you introduce yourself, so we can keep it so we all don't all speak at once. So if you just want to touch on like what do you all do, and was there ever any expectations of what you're doing in your career now?
Yeah, I guess to start, what I do is I'm a director and I'm a producer. I used to, direct a lot of music videos, but now, ever since I started the company, I'm more of a producer. And I guess what that entails is that, I have 5 directors under me now. And, I basically put videos together, for, different clients, etc. So essentially, you come to me and, I'll help you, build a production around, whatever idea you have or whatever the client, wants to do. We can make it happen between, basically all the major cities in New York, LA, Atlanta, Miami, all of that. So that's what I'm doing now. And what was the other part of the question?
Was there ever any expectation going up of what your career or profession should look like?
Yeah, so I remember when, I'm from, my company is based in New York now, but I'm from North Carolina, and, I grew up in a very traditional family. And, I feel like most people in the South grew up, in a similar way. Like, my dad wanted me to go to the military or, my family is full of athletes or, people that get different type of jobs and those type of things. And I guess when I was younger, I felt that I always knew I had a lot of creative ability, but I felt that, I had to kind of fit in some of these roles. Like, when you hear, like, when everyone's around you, I feel like you are a product of your environment in a sense. So when everyone's around you saying like, yo, you should get a job, or like when you go to school and they say like, oh, like, you should, what do you want to be? And, maybe director or producer or anything like creative related might not be on that, list of like things that, you would want to be when you grow up. I always used to say like, I wanted to be a bank investor, something, anything that made money. So I guess like, you know, my expectation when I was younger, it was just like, yo, like, you know, just same thing, like go to school and get a job. Like, I feel like most people in the South. And I say like right now, I'm probably like, you know, the only person in my family that I've kind of like bridged off, and I've done something like very like, I'll say untraditional. You know, I definitely work in, you know, the creative space. And, you know, I guess for me, you know, I just want to make sure that, you know, people know that this is something that's tangible, especially people where I'm from, you know?
Yep.
So yeah.
Mr. Lee?
So, like, once again, I'm a fashion stylist. I try to serve and act as more so like a liaison between my clients and the brands that they want to wear or want to connect with. And then also kind of like bring in, you know, it's always a collaboration between the stylist and the client. It's never about just me coming and putting them in whatever I think they should wear. I like to look at it as a collaboration, because at the end of the day, they're the artist, they're the person who's wearing it, so they have to feel comfortable. So I like to be that source between liaising them between the brands they want to connect with, and also introducing them to some brands they may not know about. So that's where I come in at as far as the title of stylist. As far as expectations career-wise, to piggyback off David said, I'm from North Carolina as well. So it's definitely the traditional doctor, lawyer, dentist. And truth be told, when I originally went to college, I was a pre-dental major for my first 2 years. So didn't really know too much about how to tap into the creative realm. Didn't even know that, you know, styling was even a job at that time. At that time, my ceiling of capacity of knowledge at that time, I thought you could do in fashion is be a manager at Macy's. So yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely with the traditional mindset. But once I decided to make that leap and go into the creative realm, it was literally no expectations, because no one knew anything about it. So no one could cloud my head. It was all just me focused on where I want to go and gaining all the knowledge as far as what I want to do in the creative space.
Yeah. Jeff?
I'm an audio engineer. Basically, I'm the direct connection between what you hear and a good song. So the recording process, the mixing process, the editing process, that all happens first before it even touches your speakers or anything like that, or anything at home. What was the second part of the question again, one more time?
No problem. Was there ever any expectation growing up of what your career or profession should look like?
Yeah, I think just in my field alone, the expectation is a white dude, old white man in the studio with the knowledge, and he got it, he gonna.
Yeah.
And for me, it's been like, and I've been places in LA, I've been with the top engineers, and they all are that. But it's like, you know, I kind of wanted to set the standard of, bro, I can be who I play games and 2K and chill and the same Air Jordans and you feel me? I'm a normal person. So it's like, you know, the standard of you gotta be this to make great art is, you know what I'm saying, in my opinion, not there. So I think that's one of them. And also me being from North Carolina, just like everybody else said, that's the thing is like, nah, bro, what is art? We all, you know, what is that shit? That shit don't pay bills. That shit ain't, you know, it ain't no degree for this. You know what I mean? So I definitely see both sides of it, but you know, we here.
So, Nate?
First of all, thank you to Arvana and Ducana, you know, for everything and like setting this up. Thank you to other panelists. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate you. But yeah, so essentially for me, it was just kind of like, so I work at Hypebeast now. I'm a creative editor, but I came up mostly writing. You know, storytelling was my passion. So when I came into it, I was kind of like, I want to tell the stories that nobody's telling. So like a big thing for me was like discovery, like really just like, you know, being in the Instagram comments, being in like these forums, being in like these like real low key places where people are maybe not checking, and just like interacting with artists, you know, before they, you know, become who they are, you know, stuff like that. And just trying to get them to the platforms where like they usually never thought they would be, especially like kids from, you know, inner cities and like the hood, stuff like that. So it was like, for me, it was like, if I could bring these artists, you know, and get them some shine. It's like, you know, hopefully I am pushing something forward, whatever it is. I don't think there was a blueprint for what I was trying to do essentially. But in the media space in general, yeah, of course, it's like predominantly white, especially writers and editors, predominantly white. But I also knew like I essentially just I spent like years just like watching the field, like being on Twitter, like looking for editors, looking for people, just stuff like that, building these like small creative communities and stuff like that. That's how like I knew YBN Corday before he popped, because we were in like the same small creative like community on Twitter, you know, stuff like that.
How important is it as an editor to get a relationship with the artist before you start writing on them?
Yeah, man, I think it's most important, because also for me, it's like, that's another thing. Like, if you come to me with something, it's like, it almost makes me not want to write. Like, if you're like pushy about it, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you come with me with something and just want me to like listen to music or like take in the art, whatever it may be, whatever medium it may be, and, you know, build a rapport with me, like, that's how we can start to build, you know? I give feedback, you know, you can give me your thoughts, et cetera, just things like that. Just being open to that, and then building from there, because, you know, personally, like I love to like be able to pick my own stories and stuff like that. So I don't like, you know, when artists are like trying to force things on people. And like, again, I also understand that artists have to be out there. You know, I do understand that, but I think there's a way to go about it.
For sure.
So yeah, I don't think there was a blueprint necessarily, but it was just about, you know, I was in school. So that kind of really school for me was buying myself the time and like the tools and like the understanding of how to like finesse and get into the game and stuff like that. So that's really what it was for me, building like my own blueprint based on like my own journey.
I think what you all got in common is you get paid to give your opinion on a specific lane of art, which is really cool. Because mixing a song, you never really finish, bro. You just kind of got to abandon. Like, all art, it's never really done. You just got to kind of abandon it. So it's pretty cool that you all in that realm. Next question is, what's the biggest risk you ever had to take within your journey? We can go in the same order.
Biggest risk I ever had to take?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the biggest one was, but I feel like when I was in I went to college for 3 years, and like basically like my last year cheat code, I basically switched like all my because I was a main campus student at UNCG. I basically switched all my main campus classes to like a main campus online classes, whatever. So it was like, you know, when I was first starting off, I did that so I could get like the refund check money and, you know, the housing money and all that stuff. And I ended up going to live in Miami with, you know, some artist friends of mine at the time. So I feel like for me, like taking risks, like even before that, taking risks has just always been in my DNA, you know what I'm saying? So like, I can't tell you like, you know, probably like what was the biggest one, but I'd say like, you know, doing stuff like that before, like any opportunity that I ever had, I always, you know, just went after it, even if it was a slight chance. Like my whole philosophy is like, you'll never know until you find out, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, anything that, you know, any opportunity that comes up, you know, I try it and then just see how it goes, you know, for the most part. So, you know, throughout my life, just like, you know, different parts for, you know, finally leaving school and kind of doing that, to, you know, me chasing different type of artists while I was in school, to even now, then moving up to New York, never really being from New York before, to, you know, just walking into different spaces, just walking in with, you know, the utmost, you know, confidence, as much as, you know, bringing my 100% to everything. It's kind of like, you know, me taking risks, because I feel like you can't really grow unless you take risks, you know? And that's, for me, that's, you know, anytime that I've been able to change or level up in my life is because, like, you know, I'm willing to make the sacrifice, like, every single time, you know, no matter what happens, what's in front of me, like, you know, what's going on in my life, like, you know, if it's a chance, I'm gonna take it. And, you know, I say for the most part, it's paid off like a lot, you know? So
For sure.
There's that. I don't know if that directly answers the question, but
Yeah, it doesn't matter, bro. We're here to have a conversation, honestly. Like, you touched on what you want to touch on. That's the most important thing.
fine.
Yeah, I would say the same. I can't really pinpoint any big risk. To me, honestly, a lot of times I've tried to change my perspective on how I look at my creative career, and I try not to look at things as a risk, more so just taking a leap of faith. So to me was the start. I think any creative, any idea, any that you're really passionate about, anything that you want to really do, to present it to anyone could be a risk. So to me was moving to New York. I moved to New York the day after I graduated college. I graduated East Carolina University on December 18th, 2015, and I moved the next day. I gave my pops my car. I turned, I gave my people some of my stuff to take home, and then I just went up north to New York with a cousin of mine, and I slept on a couch for a year and a half, just interning and assistant, and trying to get into the spaces in New York, connecting with different people, trying to intern, with different people, so I can kind of like get my foot in there and see how styling really works on a major level. So that'd probably be the biggest risk for me,
Honorable.
So I think my answer is very similar to Dan's in a lot of ways. It's like, taking that jump, that risk, like, all right, look, I got to do something because it ain't coming from here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think in my journey, it was a little different because, I was stuck in between two things. I was stuck in between moving to Atlanta. I went down there, one of my friends, he ended up being like, his cousin was like the head of 12 studios down there. And that was Rick Ross's home studio. So I met Ross on that trip, like, oh shit, like perfect, this is crazy. But prior to that, I had visited a friend who took off and moved to Chicago. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go up there, visit, you know what I'm saying? Shit was so cool. Shit was so crazy in Chicago. The energy was so up. And I was like, I told my friend, I was like, y'all think I want to move to Chicago? And everybody was like, fuck no, what are you doing, bro? Hell no. Like, LA, you could go here, you could go there, wherever.
Yeah.
So it took an OG, of mine to just be like, hey man, go where the love is. You know what I'm saying? And that OG, his name is Bink. He's an amazing, incredible, legendary producer. He was like, yo, like, fuck all that. Excuse my language. Fuck all that. Like, go where the love is, bro. Wherever you feel in your heart, like, you gonna turn up. And, I look back at all the people who said what I told you, like, yo, you tripping. And it's like, damn, like, you doing your thing. Like, not to hate on anything they doing or they got going on this, but it's just like, it's just a cool moment to just, you know what I'm saying, trust wherever it is. So it starts with the jump. Everybody in here, wherever it is, jump. Wherever the fuck you gotta go, jump. Just go. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I pretty much agree with what everybody was saying. Same type of thing. Like, there was no, my parents, my mom came here. She's an immigrant, like came here with nothing. You feel me? I'm Dominican. So it's like, it's a lot of pressure being first generation, especially going to school, whatever it is, people know, especially any Black people in here, so it was like, for me to pursue something that was not set in stone or like doesn't have a direct path and kind of like chase those dreams or whatnot was a risk in itself. But I think in doing that, like, it motivated me more to want to go after it itself, and build my own path and, take this writing industry. And then I think another part was like, when I first got in it, like 2016, a lot of like the media landscape was shifting. So like a lot of stuff was going to video, like people, want to get short snackable content, people want to get video content, people want to get content that they can easily digest. And it's like, oh, I'm writing long form, like interviews, long form stories. Like, so it's like, I had to be even better to get my, stuff out there. I had to, take it to the next level. So I think that was a big risk in it. But yeah, everything that's kind of happened, like, I felt like I just kept getting like little notices or reminders just to kind of go harder, or like somebody just telling you like, all right, like, you got it, like, like an OG or something. And that just kind of just put in my mind. So it's like, all right, I guess I can do this. I'm gonna just keep going, keep failing forward if it is what it is,
Yeah, all it takes is one yes, man.
Yeah, exactly. So
who was the biggest inspiration to y'all? Whether it be somebody you know, whether it be somebody you don't know. Yeah, who's y'all biggest inspiration? Somebody that inspire y'all along your journey, or to get to the point where you can be the creative you are today?
You know, my biggest inspiration, I say, is my uncle. I named the company Atlas. My uncle's friends. So like my uncle passed away like about 2 maybe 3 years ago. Closest person in my life. I named the company Atlas based because they used to call him Atlas Hager. I say he was kind of like, for me, he was kind of like he's the biggest drive factor in just making sure all this keeps going and all this works. So he's like a huge inspiration for me professionally. Like I guess in the professional atmosphere, I can name out like a lot of people. I say like music inspired me, like hustle music, like Nip. To just people just huge directors, people just doing cool stuff on the daily, like like I was saying earlier, like I only know how to give my 100% in anything, so I always look at whatever the top is doing, and I try to do whatever I can to get there. So I say like anyone that's really doing their thing, or really just making waves, inspiring to me, because I'm somebody that always wants to push this as as high as we can get it.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, that question was like 3-part for me. I guess first, my biggest inspiration would be definitely my mom. She died when I was 7 years old, but my mom was from Queens, New York. So my mom was kind of like really into fashion. She was into the cool leather jackets and the new Nikes and stuff. So those years with her definitely inspired me more, because I definitely remember her put me in a lot of cool clothes, and she would have my aunt send stuff from New York for me to wear. So that was like definitely my biggest inspiration. As far as professionally, it would be one of my first mentors by the name of Rachel Johnson, who is she mostly known for being LeBron James stylist, and she styled a couple of athletes like Colin Kaepernick and Chris Bosh and different things. So she was one of my biggest inspirations, because when I started to dive into this creative realm and started to dive into styling, I never knew that people was getting paid to shop or style for these different artists, these different our favorite artists, our favorite NBA players, NFL players. So that was like when I first had discovered that, and I kind of discovered her early on. She definitely became like that big inspiration for me. And then obviously third, like culturally, obviously being from North Carolina, it's just Michael Jordan. Like seeing a kid from North Carolina go the way he did, and go to Chicago, go to the league, and turn the league up the way he did. Like I think that speaks to probably a lot of us as kids from North Carolina, seeing him as a big inspiration, actually the world. So that was like my 3 different lanes, but my 3 forms of like inspiration.
Type. Jeff.
I think it's the same thing. It's a multiplex question. I do think it takes a village to raise somebody, so like more than one OG. I think I'm gonna say one for me was a rapper. His name is Cap One. Been basically my mentor since I was little. I was in the club at 15, standing on couches, and he was on tour with 2 Chainz and stuff. And I'm young. I'm like 16. I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy. Like that was the first time I was like, yo, I want to do music. Whatever he doing and how as cool as much as looking at him, oh yeah, I'm doing some of that, whatever that is. So I have to attribute him. I have to attribute obviously moms, you know what I'm saying? You gotta put moms in there. A few other people just for me. Bink, of course. You know what I'm saying? Having somebody who gonna cutthroat, he gonna say whatever he wanna say. He gonna be him and give it to you straight. Not gonna do that. Nah, this is not how they should treat you. No. Run it like this. And the last person is a guy I met in Chicago. His name is Chris Classic. And he reminded me so much of who I wanted to be in this industry. Like, a guy he owns a studio. All the hottest artists from Chicago, from No Name to Chance to anybody in Chicago who was doing whatever, they come to him. And it's like he owns the building, cool guy, pop in and out. Just seeing him, you know what I'm saying, transform a studio that was in his mom's basement, just very similar to my story, and to, you know what I'm saying, something crazy is like, that was the most inspiring thing that I had ever seen. So, yeah,
Like,
meet a few people.
Nate.
Yeah, so yeah, same, like, you know, different inspirations. I think, yeah, my mom, my dad, you know, my mom just being a person who, you know, like sacrificed everything, you know, that just taught me the work ethic, you feel me? And then, you know, my dad was like he grew up in the Bronx in the 90s, so he's very fashionable, but also with the hip hop shit. And he was breakdancing and like, he was tailoring, like sewing with his hands and shit. So that kind of just taught me like, just to be open to like all different mediums, just trying whatever, you know, like trying to do it yourself, whatever, and things like that. And then I think, however you may feel about him, I know people feel away, but like on a bigger scale, Kanye is definitely probably my biggest inspiration, just because like, you know, just the attitude of like having no fear and going after, you know, whatever you want to go after, and just being open to learning. Like, I think that's a huge thing, like being open to information and learning, like taking in all the information you can, really studying, doing, and then like applying it to your own path, applying it to your own game. And then even just on my own life, just like OGs, like Sycamore, you know, that's Travis's A&R, and like he helped YG. Yeah, Sycamore, you know, he's the OG. Like, he was hustling mixtape DJ. He was the first guy to, like, at 21 to get an A&R job, you know what I'm saying? So I think him just like telling me like, listen, whatever you're gonna do, like be specific about it, and then like just keep on going with it. So doing that, and like even Jinx from Complex, he was the first person when I was an intern to just like fuck with me at all. Just like when I was in office, like talk to me, whatever. And he's just a person, I don't know, you know, he just like, again, people who like build their own paths and like kind of just continue to go on their path and build a unique path and have a strategy towards what they're doing, but also, you know, just being open to people and open to everything.
Yeah. I think that's so important, man. It's like when people get in these positions, for them to help people that are younger than them. Because you never know when you're going to need somebody to help you get up that ladder too. You know what I'm saying? So what I hear from y'all, there was always somebody that was older than y'all that, you know, that reached down and pulled y'all up with them, which I feel like is very important. The next question is like, as a Black man in America, was there ever any doubt that you could get into the field you're in? But because I know all of you are gonna say yes, I'm just gonna counter that question and ask, like, what helped you get past the point where, like, you know, where the doubt is in your head? Like, what helped you get past the point where you're like, nah, I could do this. I could be a fashion stylist. I could be one of the biggest directors. I could engineer for the top artists in the game. I could write on any artist I want at the highest level. What helped y'all get past the point where you're able to do that?
I personally believe, you know, I'm someone that believes like, you know, I have no limits, that I can really do anything. So I will say, you know, I'm probably like one of the few Black-owned production companies, and you know, I'm not just gonna say Black-owned, but you know, Black-owned and doing it good, you know, and doing like huge projects, etc. So, you know, for me, like, you know, as I was coming up, I always felt like, you know, I have this taker's mentality. I feel like that anything that I want to get, I have to really try like 300% to go get it, whether that means calling this person a million times or, you know, hitting them up. Like, I have to go so much harder because, you know, a lot of my, you know, counterparts of, you know, other skin colors, you know, like, I feel like naturally, you know, a lot of people, a lot of artists, like when you have labels that are predominantly like, you know, predominantly white, or, you know, all these entities that are actually giving out the jobs and stuff like that, ad agencies and all these things, like, you know, it's a lot of feelings that you get because, you know, it's a lot of feelings. Like, first, like, you come in feeling like, you know, I'm just being completely transparent, you feeling like kind of inferior to the whole situation. And then it's like they already like have so many other options to work with you for. So for me, to work with, so for me, it was always like, all right, cool. Like, I got to kind of keep a show and prove mentality. So everything, that's why I said like a taker, you know, kind of like a taker, because, you know, everything, like, I can't tell you how many videos early on that I actually lost money on or put some of my own money in because I was so like, you know, this product has to be crazy, you know, like it has to do numbers, like all that. And, you know, now I feel like, you know, now that, you know, we've done the numbers, you know, we have two of the biggest videos in the world right now, that it's like, you know, it's kind of proven. It's kind of proven, you know. So, and I've had to, you know, I've always had to, you know, instill that in myself. Like, no matter what I go into, is like, all right, cool. Like, if I want to do a pop video, I got to do a pop video. If I want to do if I want to do, like kind of like a street, like Atlanta type video, I gotta do that. You know, I gotta do it first so people would trust me to do it. So, you know, my whole thing early on was just like, you know, getting that spectrum of work, like from pop to street video to, you know, the creative, the super creative, the moody, all of that. And I feel like at this point, like, you know, we've gotten that, you know, just to continue, like, you know, I have felt like, you know, going into certain rooms, like maybe like being the only, like, you know, African-American person or like anything like that, you know, as you get higher and higher, that, you know, it's just important to just know yourself and just know, like, you know, you don't gotta change how you act, or, you know, maybe some of y'all are feeling this in the workplace, you know, people that, you know, are African-American or people of color that, you know, when they go into work, you don't have to change how you act. Just stay true to yourself. Make sure you do, like, you know, the most amazing work. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, at the end of the day, in my head, if you're outperforming everyone, they can't count you out, you know?
Yep.
So that's kind of like been my whole philosophy with everything.
Like, Daniel.
I think with me, the confidence was built kind of just like researching and looking for other people who look like me in the space, who was already operating the space before me. I'm a firm believer that, you know, anything you want to do, there's someone out there that came before us. And like we spoke on earlier, like mentors or OGs. So when I was just doing my research, I was like, obviously there's tons of stylists and there's tons of dope people, but, you know, I was doing a lot of research heavily on Black stylists. So when I was coming up, you know, I was looking and seeing what different Black stylists was doing. And when I started to see Black men stylists who looked like me and, you know, was working with top A-list clients, that started to like kind of like help me. And to be honest, like, you know, when I first kind of got into it, Instagram had first became a big thing. So when they were promoting themselves and you start to see that they're doing, you see someone that looks like you, they're doing it, then it kind of like confirmation, like, okay, I can do that too. There's someone who's Black, that's a male, that's doing it out here. So, you know, that kind of gave me the confidence. And once you see more and more of us, it's like, yo, like, I'm definitely gonna keep going. I'm not gonna let nobody stop me.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard. That's basically, you know, where I'm coming from in a nutshell too. Is like, main thing was getting out of my own way and accepting that everybody that come with you can't go with you. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta have that belief that I can do anything I want on this earth. I can be anybody I want to be on this earth. So once you have that, and like, you know what I'm saying, that drive, can't nobody take that from you. And like I said, in my industry, it's kind of hard because, you know, like I said, they don't look like me. A lot of people don't look like me. It's like a few engineers out here, you know what I'm saying, that's doing big work that, you know what I'm saying, mixed by Ali, shout out to him, KY, like, you know what I'm saying, a couple dope guys. But it's like, I come in and you know me, I'm going to be me regardless. If you know me, you know my mama. She crazy, I'm crazy. That's how it is. And you feel what I'm saying? I've never been the person to like try to change who I am for any of that. And like I said, we can be ourselves and we can be unapologetically Black. We can be whatever we want to be, man. You know what I'm saying? Be you. So that's one of the main reasons, I guess, for me, that it's been no obstacles. You feel me? Like, do whatever you're trying to do.
Can I get the question again, man?
So the original question,
They
or
were
the
all
base,
great.
yeah. I know it's kind of hard going last sometimes. The base of the question was, as a Black man in America, was it hard for you to get into the creative industry? Like, was it ever any doubt in your mind you can get into the field you're in? But because I knew all of you would say yes, I'm asking, like, what helped you get past the point where you're able to write at a high level at a company like Hypebeast?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think so what helped me get past the point was, like, I think realizing that there was a certain a certain story and narrative I was trying to keep in line, which was like really like telling real stories. So I understood, like, the fact that a lot of artists like, you know, do interviews when they're in a press cycle, you know, things like that. So my goal was like, all right, to chase artists, and for example, to chase artists outside of the press cycle. You feel me? And like, I will be approaching artists myself. You know, usually most times you go through like editor, or you go through like managers, or like, you know how it goes. You know, go through all these people. But I would try to like, I feel like people don't really notice sometimes. I mean, don't get me wrong, with the biggest artists, it is difficult to reach them, but like people do be checking their DMs. You feel me? Like, it's not super hard if you come with a direct message and something that makes sense to like reach out to artists. So like, I knew if I could develop like repertoires and real relationships and like tell real stories at the end of the day, I felt like it would stick out. So even though I definitely had a lot to overcome and whatnot, I think what pushed me forward was like realizing, okay, like when I am doing these stories, like these are clicking, you know, like when I'm doing these stories, like this is this person's first interview, and like they telling their whole full story, and like really like people relating to it. So I think the humanity aspect of it was really the part that pushed me forward and made it be like, you know, like dudes who don't look like me can't tell a story about somebody like me better than me. So
that's facts. It's crazy because like from an artist perspective, everything y'all do is like so important, from the styling to who's directing and producing the video to like getting eyes on it, which is like when you want somebody to write about it or, you know, put it on a platform. And just super important for a musician, like making the shit sound good, because that's the difference between you sounding like shit and the song just being really good. So I just want to say, like,
the real goat.
Yeah, man. From an artist perspective, like, I appreciate everything y'all do, because in the process of making music or whatever it is you're doing, y'all are so needed in the industry. And as a Black artist, or just as an artist, period, man, it's so important to like walk in the room and see somebody that look like you. And it's crazy that you mentioned Mixed by Ali. He the one who like got me into music. I was in those sessions when he was mixing Damn, when he was mixing Victory Lap. So I met Kendrick and Nip, SZA and Q when he was mixing all this stuff. Guru is another Black engineer that's legendary. That's Jay-Z engineer for people that don't know. But y'all appreciate it, man. So right now we're gonna get into like personal questions. So David, you recently talked about creating Black privilege and access on the Clean Slate USA platform.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that privilege and access is so important for you to create for others?
You know, like a lot of us, I feel like, I say that I've been blessed, like, to be able to, like, I've toured with, artists like around the world. Like I've been able to be exposed to, this kind of the same thing I said on the Clean Slate platform, because I've been able to be exposed to like so much at a young age, like in my 20s, like early 20s, etc. So, it's important just to see what's out there. Cause like, my thing is like, how can you make I've dealt with this, my family, some of my siblings, and, I tell them the same thing. Is like, how can you make a decision about what college you want to go to, where you want to live, or, what type of job you want to have if you've never experienced it or seen it, Like if you're
don't even know about it.
Yeah, or know nothing about it. Like you might watch it on TV. It's cool that, because I'm 25 now. So when I was in college, like I could watch all these guys on Instagram, and, whether they was, a lot of my friends now, whether they was fake flexing or whatever, like I just saw these young dudes like traveling around, you know what I'm saying, doing all, throwing part, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that for me inspired me to be like, oh, I could be one of these traveling type of, I could be a young dude that's flying around everywhere and doing that. So that was like my first goal in the back of my head. But I say, like, back to the topic, is like, these creative jobs are like tangible, and a lot of the times some of these pay more than finance jobs if you're in the right position. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether you getting a job at another company, or whether you getting a job at another company or you start your own thing, it's just like, just realizing that, how much, sauce and how much of your mind that, people want, how much of this culture is like directly affecting, everything in the ad space, the entertainment space, and like everything, you could tap into that and, really, you could really create a whole, like, environment that just works, works for you, yeah, like exposure, like, I feel like is very big. So, in my life, I want to make sure, I'm showing enough people that, these type of things are not like, these aren't far-fetched ideas. You could be a musician, you could be a sound engineer, you could be a fashion stylist, you could be whatever you want to be. Like, you don't have to be, no knocking, anybody that, traditional jobs like lawyers, doctors, and whatever, like,
Yeah.
lit. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to do. My main point is, whatever you want to do, you can do it, And in order to make a decision about who you are or what you want to do, you got to try a lot of things. You got to experience a lot of things. You got to see a lot of things. And I feel like a lot of Black kids don't have that exposure. When you just sit in the neighborhood all the time and you just around, the same dudes that you around with every day, or going to school, same dudes. And, some of them might not have the same ideas as you. Like, you just basically putting you in a situation that you can't control, Like, you're not, everybody around you, trying to hoop or, whatever. Like, when you go into these bigger cities, and I advocate for everyone, like, if you're thinking about making that step and going into these bigger cities, you should do it, because it's not the fact that you can't make it where you're from, It's that when you go to these, let's say Atlanta's, New York, or Los Angeles, or whatever, it's more people there that are like-minded like you. And the more people that are around you that are on the same mission is only going to propel you forward. And it's only going to make you see, like, whatever you're doing is real. And, if you come up there thinking that you're going to do one thing, you'll probably branch off and figure out a whole nother thing. But you got to get in the mix. You can't be around people that don't have the same, ideology or the same, dreams or goals or, wanting to go forward as you. So that's what I'm going to say on that.
Agreed. Dan, were you coming from the South? Did you receive immediate support around your dreams from friends and family?
As far as the immediate support, I would say definitely from my circle of friends in college. My closest friends I did, obviously from the masses in college, I did receive some flack in the beginning. A lot of people was like, what's a stylist? You're not going to be a stylist. There, back in the day, college used to be on Twitter heavy. There was a couple of tweets like pointed at me a couple of nights about like, this kid doesn't know nothing about fashion and whatnot. So I definitely experienced that, but I'm blessed to have a solid 4 or 5 guys that was really close to me. And even though they didn't understand what I was about to go into, because a lot of them, all of them actually, except one, are working in traditional spaces and they love what they do, but they supported me and they was like, yo, just do it, bro. Whatever you want to do, we don't really know what you're trying to do or what that looks like. We hope you make some money, but do it. And then, now 5 years later, I talk to all my guys are very proud of me. They very, some of them we talk up, although they love their jobs, they see the freedom that I have with my space. So, yeah, obviously, you know how support goes. I can't say I received it from the masses I do now. Like, I have a lot of support now, but definitely in the beginning, just my 4 closest homie in college was really down. My family was always like behind me. My pop's a pastor, so he really didn't really know what was really going on. But one thing that really helped me was because I told him going into my junior year, because my family really wanted me to be a dentist, so he really didn't know. And then that junior year of college, I just was doing like little test shoots on campus and shooting with different people. And then that going into my senior year on the pulpit one Sunday, he was like, my son going into his last year, he about to graduate, and then he's gonna go and start styling for these celebrities and magazines and different things. And that shocked me. Like, to hear my pop say that in front of his church congregation really shocked me. And then honestly, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. After that, my mom, once I had my pops like saying it, even if he don't know what I'm gonna do or what he, you know what I'm saying, what is the outcome gonna be, when he said he knew his son was gonna do that, I just all the limits was off then.
Did you feel like it was essential for you to leave North Carolina?
100%, 100%. I mean, I love, obviously, we love our hometown, we love our home state, but I think every creative can speak to when you going into your industry, we know, and you do your research, you know that your industry has a hub where their job really gets done at. So a lot of us, we know it's the Atlantas, it's the LAs, it's the New Yorks, it's the Miamis. And then if you want to go overseas, you can maybe tap in London, you can go to Paris. So being that you know that how the creative world works is based out of these hubs. So once I knew that, I knew it was 100%. And then New York, to me, because I was between going to Atlanta and New York, for some reason, New York spoke to me, and I came straight here. And then New York has, to piggyback off what David said, the exposure here, the ability to free think, to just come around and see people just get on the train and just do whatever they feel like they want to do today. It's like to have that mindset was like, wow, like that exposure, because I never seen that in North Carolina. All I seen was, working 9 to 5, go home. You know what I'm saying? If you're into fashion and stuff, you'll get a little fly or whatnot. But that wasn't really nothing too crazy. So New York was definitely important. I encourage all younger people, like David said, if you want to do something, do the research wherever your industry is based out of, where it's it's hot at. It's definitely might want to go there and tap in.
Yeah. Jeff, if somebody would have told you you'd be a Grammy-nominated engineer 10 years ago, would you believe it? And also, do you think awards is important in your field?
Yes. Because I feel like, well, me personally, is I put the work in to get there. And that's just the nomination. That's not even the win. So it's like, I have the drive to get there. You know what I'm saying? And I made, certain sacrifices in high school. Like, I had to be forced to go to prom. My friends was like, bruh, go to prom. Like, bruh, come out. Come get out the crib, bruh. Stop. And I've known Vanna for so long, saying she would vouch and tell you, like, these mugs had to pull me out the crib, because it's like all I wanted to do was this. I knew in some way, like, this is gonna happen for you. Just do it now. Everybody playing now. Everybody joking now. Everybody partying now. Everybody at the clubs now. Everybody popular now. But you know what I'm saying? When it comes down to it, it's like, bro, like, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta work. If this is what you want, this ain't the being a dentist. You know what I'm saying? This like you your own boss. You set your own limitation. You set your own schedule. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing right there. And what was the second part of the question?
If anybody would have told you it would be a Grammy-nominated engineer 10 years ago, would you believe it?
And then I think it was another part.
Oh, do you think awards are important in your field?
No, I don't think they mean shit, to be honest.
Yeah, especially because it ain't a lot of Black people on the Grammy panel.
It don't mean like you got. I mean, I would say it is. Now, one thing I will say is it's a very cool thing to be appreciated. Especially for the process. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
so long to mix, man.
Right. I've been working out for the last few months. I've been in LA working on Samino's next LP.
Yeah.
And it's like with Ali. And the craziest thing is like the energy in that room was so amazing. Like when we finished the process, that it was like, bro, we know this is something big. Like, we know it's something big. Like, we don't care if we win the Grammy in 2 years or a year when it come out or whatever. But like, sometimes you just like, damn, like, this is dope.
How important is it for you to be connected to the artist as an engineer to get a good mix?
I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like, if we can't have the first 15 minutes of any session of mine, if you come to record or we come to mix, is a conversation. Like, there's no way we can work on a creative or get to a creative space without a conversation. And it don't always have to be like, what delays do you want here at this part? Nah, it could be like, yo, what you was on today? Shit, I went to, you feel what I'm saying? It just starts from that. So I can build some kind of trust or rapport with you, so we can, come creating vulnerable. So it's like, it's hard to just come in like, all right, I'm making music, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be some kind of vulnerability in it. So I would definitely say so.
Nate, being a writer and content creator at Hypebeast, how do you maintain sticking to your opinion over like what social media is saying?
That's interesting. Yeah, because I feel like there's definitely a lot of a groupthink that takes over, especially when you're in the media space, and like all over social media and like, I mean, all over, like Twitter and Instagram, a lot of groupthink takes over. So I feel like a lot of it for me is like having a balance between, being online and being disconnected, so where I can like actually interact with the art or whatever it may be to myself or for myself. So like, yeah, literally, like for me, it's like taking little steps is like not like waking up and not be like the first thing I do is going on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? Like, like maybe listening to some or like trying to read some, like some I'm doing more often now. And then like, trying to form opinions before like you see a bunch of other people that forming opinions and things like that, because it definitely people fall victim to groupthink a lot for sure. But I think I also like to live with a project before I, give it like how I feel about it or say how I feel about it, a couple listens and really give it some thought and give it some kind of context or like go behind the context of maybe what was behind the album or like what, something like that. Trying to like.
How often does your opinion change? Do you ever write something and then maybe a week later you're like, I really don't fuck with this album?
No, for sure. Yes. 100%. There's been artists like that I've interviewed and like, now I'm like, dang, like what happened or something like that. But the opinion definitely can change sometimes. I think when you do more research on like an artist or something, like, I guess I'll give like the example of like someone like Sheck West in the beginning for me was like his music is very energetic, whatever, Mo Bamba, things like that. But then when you get to like really looking into the lyrics and stuff like that, like every like line he was saying was really part of like his life and like how he grew up and things like that. So it becomes more impactful. And I think it also makes it more interesting because it's like the way you told the story. It's like, it's not so direct maybe, but it's still like imparting pieces of your story into the, into your song or into your art or whatever it may be, into your design, whatever it may be. So the opinion definitely changes. I wouldn't say often. I feel like I go with my instinct most of the time,
Right.
But context could definitely change the opinion. So, yeah.
Interesting, man. It's crazy because I feel like titles a lot of times confuse people on like what we do. And I'm just speaking for all of us. We all do something different, but I'm just speaking for the group. Like saying a stylist, it doesn't really capture like exactly what you do because that can change a person's whole career sometimes. How they dress, how they look. You look at somebody like Billie Eilish, who her style was so just captivating. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was important. Same thing with being a producer. A lot of people don't even know what producing a video entails, bro. Like, you pretty much being the father for 20, 30 people, you know what I'm saying? Making sure everybody get there, getting food for everybody, making sure you split that budget up right. It's a lot of different things, man. Same with being an audio engineer. People think you just at the computer clicking buttons, turning the fucking kick up or turning the bass up. And not understanding that you got to do like subtractive EQing and all these different things that just take time and that you need ear breaks. And same thing with writing, man. It's I feel like you got to be in such a good headspace sometimes to sit and write about somebody else, bro. That's hard to do. Anybody can sit and write about themselves. You know what I'm saying? But that just gets a little difficult sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question I missed that I want to ask, man. It's a mental health question. So I want to ask everybody how they balance their mental health with their creative career. Do you got to take social media breaks? Or, I know there's times where you wake up and you don't really feel like doing anything, but you're at the service of other people and, you're dealing with other artists and other egos. So how do you guys balance your career and your mental health?
Man, as a producer, and I handle multiple projects at one time. It's like a lot of projects at this point. I don't think I ever get a break. Like if I walk away from my phone, no lie, like my phone will be 10 messages, people calling me.
We hear it, brother.
Yes,
that ringing.
Yeah. So for me, like mental health, I don't know, like. I feel like I'm a mentally solid person. Like what I do when I can, like, cause when we get jobs to travel and like go to like Miami or like, any place like Jamaica or whatever, I always book like 3 days longer, just cause like, you know, I make those workations happen, you know, wherever I can get them in at. I say sometimes like I play a lot of Call of Duty, you know, put my phone to the side and just do that. Cause at the core, like when I was younger, that's all I did was play video games, you know. You know, just anything like sometimes where I don't have to, you know, have to be on the phone or anything like that. I just, you know, I feel like, you know, you should take your you time when you can, you know, like wherever you can get it in. You know, I don't live as healthy as with lifestyles I want to, waking up, exercising and all that stuff. But, you know, I say like little by little, you know, the more you do, the more you can delegate, you know, it's like, you know, you can free that time up to just, you know, do you stuff. But I say like, you know, I wouldn't stop. I try not to stop anything. Well, yeah, this is my philosophy. Like, I try not to stop anything you're doing. I'm a very big advocate of like making it happen in the fire. So like, what I mean by that is like, you got a lot of stuff going on. If you got a lot of stuff going on and you trying to do more stuff, that just means you need to delegate that stuff and find a way that you're still getting that. For me, find a way that you're still able to get that stuff done and do what you want to at the same time, you know? So, and then I feel like the more you can do that and the more you can delegate, the more that you can grow. But that's my thing on the mental health. I guess I take no mental health breaks.
Yeah, I guess with me, I usually try to just tap out of social media. I do things sometimes. I do like social media fast sometimes, and sometimes I just shut my gram and Twitter off for like 7 days and really just, you know, tap out of what's all the external stuff and then just tap in with myself where I'm trying to go. At one point in time, I used to do it like the first week of each month. And I found that to be very good for me, you know, definitely starting off the month and see where I'm trying to go, what I'm trying to do, what, you know, directors, producers, what A&Rs, people I want to connect, you know, contact and just stay in touch and see what projects is coming, you know, what can I insert myself and be of service to. So that's one thing I try to keep in check. You know, obviously, you know what I'm saying, like David said, like, you know, I still, you know, I like video games. So like sometimes that takes me back to like my childhood. So that allows me to kind of like forget everything that's going on at the moment and just, you know, be in the game. But yeah, that's usually kind of like works for me.
Feel it. Now this question right here ain't no right answer to this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Ain't no right answer. It just, now look, my job is it's hard because I'm using my brain and my ears for the entire portion of, if a session is 12 hours, I might be using my brain consistently, like 12 hours. So it's hard in my time. Like I was just talking to my girl this morning, like, yo, I feel like, damn, like this shit is overwhelming sometimes. But at the same time, you know, it's a lot of what y'all said too, is just live. Like, you know, you get so invested in right now, just live. You need time to live, to grow, to get these experiences, to create the art that you're trying to create in the first place. If you ain't living, if you ain't going out, if you've been in the crib 3 days, take a walk. You know what I'm saying? You got to try different things. To me personally, there's no one way. Like I might try the no social media thing and then I'm like, oh, I'm good. Or I might try, you know, to go walk and I'm like, oh, I'm good. And then I'm like, fuck, I'm back. You know, you always gonna find yourself as a creative back in that place because you need time to reset. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You can't keep shooting out ideas. We ain't machines. So it's like, you know, it's a balance of that, but it's no right answer. All of those are amazing answers y'all said. And I'm damn near finna try some of them, but yeah. So it ain't no right way, but that's how it worked for me.
Yeah, definitely combination of a lot of those same things that were said. Especially, I guess, when it comes to writing, I think it's a very heady space, you know. And you have to be in a heady space for it. So it definitely, again, it's like anything, you know. It's up and downs. There's sometimes where I can't write, and I'll be just going crazy because I'm like, oh man, I can't do this right now. Let me try again tomorrow. Blah blah blah. And you know, for the most part, I'm able to like get myself into a routine because now I have to write, so like I can do it. But yeah, there's ups and downs. I mean, I bounced around from like complex to the fader to hype beast, or to freelancing to hype beast. So there's a lot of spaces in which, especially as a writer, it's like, you know, you feel this creative passion or whatever, but you're not like the art. You're not the artist, and you're not like the designer. So like, there's sometimes it feels like there's only a ceiling of how high you can go, kind of. And that brings in self-doubt and all these things. But I think, yeah, the thing that has kept me going was just like, yeah, you know, like building up that ultimate belief in myself and building up that ultimate drive in myself, and being like, you know, like understanding like there's going to be messed up days. There's going to be days where I can't write. There's going to be days where you're not wake up and not feel great or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, you keep pushing forward, you keep moving forward, and you do have to give yourself breaks. You know, you have to, whatever works for you, you know. Yeah, taking walks is definitely something I do. Just taking time off social media, yeah, of course, you know, all that type of stuff for sure. But just doing what works for you, you know, and understanding that even if you can't do it one day, like, it's still tomorrow.
Like, yeah, you always get a new opportunity tomorrow, man. Yo, I'm so distracted because my mom is in here eating with her video on. This is hilarious. What's up, mom? Another question, man. Do you guys feel like you need external validation to build confidence in your craft? Being that nobody really cares about you until you win at something, or until you got a big video, or until you style somebody big, until you mix with somebody big, or until you write hype beats. Like, do you guys feel like you need external validation to feel confident in what you do?
I'm gonna say yes and no, because as somebody that provides a service to somebody else, like I know I'm lit, you know, I know that we can make amazing videos, right? But you gotta, like I was saying earlier, you gotta do it to prove it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. External validation, like the accolades and, you know, the numbers and, you know, charts or any article or, you know, anything like that, for me, that, you know, it's always a great feeling when some work comes out and people give you their opinion on it, or you tell you how, you know, it affects. Because, you know, I feel like as, you know, artists that, you know, part of it is just, you know, giving yourself to other people, you know. It's like it's for you, but it's, you know, for other people sometimes. So hearing their opinions on different things is like, you know, when it's positive, or, just knowing that what you created has some type of impact or of any kind, you know, is always, you know, a great feeling. For me, is, you know, when stuff drops, whatever size, whatever video it is, it's always like, you know, a high to see, like, you know, everyone like responding to it and like, oh, this is fire, like, this is dope, like, oh, y'all killed it, and all of that, you know, love. Like, so I say, yeah, you know, it's important for me, you know, because you can't just be doing stuff and nobody doing nothing to it. I mean, maybe you can, but not me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with him. I guess that is a yes and no answer. To me, obviously, in styling, I feel like there's been times where I've worked with for talent who, to me, I thought was more, maybe, you know, bigger than the other, or maybe was more well known. And then the validation I got was I got more love on a project with someone who maybe was a little bit less known than the one that was more known. So then you know, once you start to see that and see the love you get, you know, then that's the no part. But obviously, the external validation helps provide more opportunities and open more doors. Obviously, we live in a numbers world. We live in a world where people do pay attention to numbers, and people do pay attention to, you know, the spaces that you occupy. So, you know, I just see that external validation sometimes it's kind of like the networking doing itself for me. Like, somebody may pass it on, like, yo, you know, my guy Dan is a really dope stylist. So if someone likes my work, I can only imagine they'll pass it to at least one other person, and ain't no telling who the other person they're gonna pass me to. And a lot of times, those external validations come back to me in forms of referral. Like, you know, people who have reached out to me, you know, different managers, different A&Rs, and say, you know, my homeboy told me about you, my homegirl told me about you, and then, you know, saying I want to work with you. So it's definitely, to me, you know, it's definitely needed. And, you know, any creative, you want to be appreciated, or at least have on your work. Like, you know, obviously, you know, saying I'm not doing it for nothing. You know, if I was doing that, you can go to the middle of nowhere and don't do no social media. And so yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a yes and no. It's like, would I still be doing this regardless of any of the validation? Of course, I love it. This is what I want to do, but it comes in a crossroad between being just okay and trying to be great. You know what I'm saying? You gotta at some point, and you gotta accept that validation. That's gonna help you, like you said. Like I used to be the same way. Like I'd be like, yo, nah, chill. Yo, chill. You know, I like being behind the scenes. I like when it come out, and then you know what I'm saying. That's a cool feeling. But it's like at the same time, artists that I've been working with, Smee, you had to tell me like, bro, like, hey, it's okay, bro. Like you did go crazy, bro. I'm trying to put you in these rooms. You feel me? So it's like you know what I'm saying. You're gonna be my first go-to. Like I've never worked with Thundercat or any kind of crazy artist like I'm like, damn, you really just showing that love. So the validation comes from a true friend. So, and you're gonna meet those people along your journey anyway. So it's like, as long as you aligning yourself with these people who care for the best interests of you, then it's like all that validation comes from them. You feel me? One candle don't lose no light like another. So it's like, you feel me? You just putting people on. So I think the validation works, you know, in both spaces, I would say.
For sure, I would definitely agree. Same type of thing. You know, you don't want to be doing things for no reason, of course, but also at the end of the day, I think you have to kind of build something in yourself where you're satisfied with yourself and, you know, your work. And I think when it's hard because it's like my opinion has somewhat changed because I think when I was coming up and everything, like I was trying to like, one of my main goals was like getting artists, like hood artists onto like whatever, like Pitchfork or like, you know, these like white establishment, like media places and places with legacy and things of that nature. And I'm like, man, if I could do that, like that's amazing. But now it's kind of like, you know, it's still something I'm working through, but it's like, am I helping the artists more? Or helping the publication more? And now like within the space we working in, you feel like you kind of have to be more conscious of like, you know, like you don't want to be putting people out there to get exploited, you know, but you do want to tell their stories. So, you know, it's a balance of everything. Of course you want the validation, but it's like thinking intentionally about everything we do. And, you know, like I try to place people like in places where I know they'll get visibility and like somewhere where it just makes sense, stuff like that. So yeah, I think, you know, you have to do it for yourself at the end of the day and whatnot, but understand that like there might not have been people there in the beginning, but if you keep like be consistent and like keep doing your thing, like people are going to attach onto the wave. And another thing is like building communities like not only like you need the mentors and like those people up top, but also you need those people who's in the same space as you, like moving at the same pace as you. You need those people that you could build with, you know, and build these communities online or, you know, in real life, whatever it may be, and build from there, you know, like continue to, that's how you build your vision and understand what you want to do. And then, you know, build from there, and like people going to catch on, you know, if it's real, people going to catch on.
Yo, do you guys think,
can I add something? Yo, I also want to say like, cause I know like, you know, a lot of creatives might struggle, you know, when you first coming out and stuff like that. Don't be afraid of the judgment and the validation. You know what I'm saying? Like, get your stuff out. You know, like when you working on something. I know a lot of people that, you know, are perfectionists that, you know, try to say like, you know, working on something, you know, behind the scenes for so long or whatever, and then just be like, oh, it's not perfect enough to put out. Really, I feel like what they're saying is like, you know, you're scared to be judged because like every one of us, like when you put something out on Instagram or anything like that, like you putting yourself out there for someone to be like, oh yeah, that's dirt, or like that's fire, you know? It could go either way. So, you know, I say early on, you know, one of my things is, you know, always to try to like, no matter, because when you start to do something, 9 times out of 10, the first things you put out is going to be trash, you know? And that's okay, you know, because what you need to know in your mind is like, all right, cool, like that's trash. What did I learn? You know, let's make it better. Cause like, you know, one thing for me is like, even today, you know, like I feel like I've been able to keep pushing forward so fast because like my philosophy with everything I do is just to make the next thing better than my last thing, no matter what the budget is, you know? So with anything that you're doing, like you making art, making music or whatever, and it's just like, oh, you make something, it's like, all right, cool, how can I make it better? You know, after you put it out, like what you put out is not going to define you for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? Like your portfolio work is like, you know, whatever you keep putting out or whatever, like everybody got to start somewhere, and don't be afraid to start. Don't be afraid to be judged. Because at the end of the day, you can always make whatever you put out, the next thing you put out can be better, you know? So
yeah, most of the time people won't even care about the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, dropping that heat.
Yeah.
Gems.
What? So, do y'all think social media numbers, like impressions, are more important, or is impact more important to y'all?
Impact.
Yeah. Definitely the impact.
Yeah, definitely impact. I was going to piggyback off what David said. Even when it comes to external validation, like no matter the numbers or no matter how many likes, how many comments you get, I think, you know what I'm saying, it's definitely more internal. At the end of the day, for me, if a client loves what I did or what I brought to the table, that's good for me. Because when I leave a shoot, when I leave a video shoot, and the client was like, tell their manager, oh no, I like him, like I want him for my next video, that lets me know that like, you know, my service was of good standard, and then I get brought back. Then, you know, it's just a circle effect. So, and then also too, just internally, like, you know, no matter how much love I get, obviously I appreciate that. But to be honest, you know what I'm saying, I want the producers, I want, you know, the managers, I want these people who are in position to book me, to allow me to continue to do what I love, to validate me and give me that respect and that love. Like that's one thing I learned, you know, definitely early in the game. I thought it was more so obviously coming from North Carolina and then going to New York and doing all these things, getting all that love. But then, you know, about a year or two in, I'm like, none of that matters if this other young manager who has a talent and looking for a stylist don't even know who I am or don't even know to tap in with me. So that's where my focus has been the last 3 years, you know, in my 5-year journey. Like I want to know the people who are in position, who are calling the shots, who are booking talent, who are looking for stylists. You know, it's that validation means so much more, because that's where your check finna come from.
Yep. Agreed.
Sure. I think I feel like, you know, for everybody it has to be, you know, dependent on yourself. It has to be individual. I think there's no right, wrong answer. I think, like, you know, like he said, like I like the behind the scenes things more. I like being behind the scenes. Like, you know, Clarence Avant is somebody who, like, I watched the Netflix documentary, The Black Godfather, you know, like people don't know who he is, but he like did so much thing, like, you know what I'm saying, put on Quincy Jones, like right hand man, you know, made so much amazing music over the years. And it's like, but the people who's supposed to know who he is, you know what I'm saying? So it's a balance of, you know, figuring out if you need visibility, if you don't need visibility, and like building your brand towards that. You know, something like, for me, it's like, I don't feel like I need to be the loudest in the room, but like when I do drop some, or when I do some, you know, hopefully it's like, it's really going to be impactful. And I know if it's good, you know, it's going to be good. And I think in the beginning, that's something I had to learn. Like, I don't think people get a little too caught up on support instead of like working on the craft and just really like working and like understanding the right moves and the right people that you need to be really in focus with. It's like your friends, you know, like I love my friends, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes they don't even know like what I'm doing, you know, and that's okay. Like I don't need them to, you know, necessarily like, you know, as long as they support me and like love me and be there for me in the real moments, it's like, I don't need that visibility like online or anything like that. It's like, do what you do for you and do it do your best work, build your craft, and like put it out there, and people gonna relate.
So, if you guys give a piece of advice to someone you would mentor, what would it be?
Say that one more time.
If you could give any piece of advice to somebody you are a mentor to, what would it be?
Just, you know, don't be afraid to try. You know, I've told my little brother this a long time, and, you know, I hope he doesn't get mad about, you know, me sharing his story, but, you know, for him right now, he's young. He's in his 20s right now, and he's from Durham also. And you know, he's had a hard, you know, he's been trying to like find himself. You know what I'm saying? But in order to do that, right, you gotta just you gotta try a lot of things. You know, like when I was starting off, like I tried to be I tried to throw shows. I mean, Jacana know, 'cause she went to my college. Like I tried to throw shows. I tried to, you know, parties, take model Instagram pictures, shoot weddings, you know, like all of that to say, like, you know, find out that, you know, I stuck with being a producer or director. I mean, at first it was like I was shooting videos on my own, right? Like, so I'm coming in a situation, shoot videos on my own, and then now, like, I don't touch the camera at all. Like, you know, like I oversee like whole projects, you know, I oversee creative and, you know, that type of thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, if I didn't try to do all that stuff to realize that, oh, like I just like shooting videos. I don't like doing pictures and stuff. Like I can't take pictures. It's crazy. I can make video images look good, but I can't take pictures. I suck at it.
Yep.
But if I didn't try to do all that stuff that, you know, I was, you know, taking L's on, like, don't be afraid to take L's. I done lost money trying to throw shows in different places, trying to do different things in college or whatever. But if I didn't get all them L's, I would have never found like, oh, you know, shooting videos is my thing, you know? So like, and then once you find your thing, it breaks off into small other things. Like I said, like I was shooting videos by myself. Now, you know, now I got full crews, like all the way through. And then it's like, oh, what am I really good at? I'm not really the best at holding the video by my camera, but I'm good at getting the job, putting the whole video together. I'm good at directing. Let me just stick in that lane. So now it just even, you know, subbed off into just doing that. You know, and even, you know, even still, like, you know, never lose that, you know, that feeling of, you know, just keep trying different things. Cause even that right now, as I'm keep growing and trying to get bigger and, you know, touch more things, that title even changes, you know. Maybe I'm not even directing anymore. Maybe I'm overseeing producers now, you know, like I'm doing a lot of that now. So it's, you know, just don't be afraid to, like, you know, try to take L's, like let it be goofy, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, make sure you have to do all that to find what you like to do, you know. This is just like your parents trying to put you in like ballerina class, basketball, tennis, you know, like all those things, ROT, you know, whatever, like all these activities, they doing that. People say they doing that so you can maybe like, oh cool, like I like basketball, you know, and then you run with that. But it's the same rules apply with, you know, chasing your career. So yeah.
Yeah, I always like to when people reach out and, you know, ask for advice for things, I always like to tell people research what exactly you're trying to do, and, like, you know, kind of get an idea of like how you're trying to do it. But then also in that my main thing that has blessed me in my career is just to seek mentorship. Like, you know, if you were able to find a good mentor who, you know, been in the game for a couple of times. Like I was blessed to come in. I had a mentor who's a Black man as well, who's been a stylist already for 15 years. So I was blessed enough to have that mentorship. And, you know, it was, I had to chase him down for 2 years, just emailing him. So I finally got a response, but I wasn't going to give up until I had found, you know, a good solid mentor. So I'm blessed to have that. And then once you do get into that space, when you are able to gain mentorship, just, you know, just listen. Like, one of the main things I like to be transparent is, in my beginning, I think a lot of times I came to New York and I was very ambitious, and I kind of thought I knew a lot. And I thought, you know, sometimes in spaces I would like maybe overspeak, or sometimes I would think, you know, my mentor would say something, I think it should be like, do it another way. But I've learned, you know, through this process, just to listen, especially to people who've been there before you, because it's definitely going to like pay off in the long run. And then, you know, once you get into a position where I'm at now, I'm able to like kind of call my own shots. And then now I have, you know, assistants and interns who work for me, so on various projects. So those my three things I try to tell people.
It's amazing. I think for me, if I was to give advice to anybody, it would be to relax. God ain't through with you. That's the main. That's the main thing I could like. It's been so many times in my career where I was like, I want this and I want this and I should. And you start to almost feel entitled. Like, I've done this and I'm doing this. Why isn't this working out? Bruh, relax. You know what I'm saying? Take your time to get yourself together. And if you're not there yet, it's okay. You still learning. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't sit here and put all this unnecessary pressure on yourself. You see all these people doing this and you looking at them and you ain't even looking down at what you're supposed to be doing. So I mean, if that's the best advice I possibly could give to somebody is because I don't know everybody's story, you know what I'm saying? So I can't necessarily say do this or do that, but at the same time, just bro, relax and just, you know, bruh's universal, just for my women too, bro. Y'all bro too, everybody bro. Just the same person. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just it ain't over. Your story ain't finished being wrote. So just keep changing into whatever you need to be until you find out what you want to be.
For sure. I would say same as everybody, you know, we're all on our own separate timelines. I think people have to, you know, kind of understand that there is no set timeline for anybody. And we all, you know, have our own separate paths. I think a lot of it is just kind of, I think it starts with finding yourself, finding out who you are, like what you like, really like what David said, really trying like as many things as possible, you know, and like giving it a go, like giving it a shot, seeing what you could do, seeing what sticks with you. Even if maybe you're not the best at it in the beginning, if you like it, you know, you work at it and you do what you can. But yeah, I really just feel like it's just understanding to build your own pathway. Really just starting with finding yourself and then like honing in on that, whatever that craft may be, honing in on that, you know, putting in your 10,000 hours. I think a great thing I've learned just as a writer personally, I think for any advice for writers, I think is like, and I'm still learning it, is like editing, like learning how to edit yourself down. Because, you know, you want to say so much, but it's like, you want to make sure everything you say is powerful at the same time too. It's like moving a song forward, you want to move a story forward. Like every line's supposed to make sense or move the story forward. So that's how I kind of like carry my life. Like everything I do is like trying to move the story forward, you know, and even if it's a mistake or it's a failure, you know, like that's part of it. It is what it is. And you just continue rolling with the chapters. Yeah. And the story is never finished till it's finished. You feel me?
Yes, sir. I agree, man. So right now we're going to transition into Q&A. What I want you to do, if you have a question, just type it in the chat over here to the right. And then we'll just go on water from there. All right. Jacana, we're going to skip over your question because you cheating. So we're going to take Trey's question. What are the do's and don'ts of reaching out to offer your skill for free?
Yo, do that. Like, bro, what? Yo,
yeah.
You do that, bro. Like, if you get too worried about the bread, yo, first of all, this is not about money, you know. I don't let nobody, you know, we have projects that we make mad money off of, but I don't work with people that are just worried about money all the time, you know what I'm saying? Because if you're just worried about that and not the art or the product, then there's no way you can grow. So, like, as far as, like, reaching out and doing stuff for free, it's like, yo, maybe you're into, like, the person that you want to work with for the job or, you know, whatever it means that, you know, you reach out to them like, hey, yo, give me a chance I could do this for free. And maybe, yo, honestly, yo, maybe you end up doing it for free for him for the rest of your life, but just make it beneficial for you. Like the person that you ask to do something for free, make sure that person, you know, has something. Yeah, like he lit or has something that you want. So like, or maybe like some accolades that you want. So like maybe you know.
Well, I think more what he asking is like touching on what Nate said is like somebody might reach out and they're a little too pushy. So he probably just trying to figure out like, you know, what's some do's and don'ts, like when you're reaching out to somebody. If somebody reaching out to you for a video, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, for free?
Or for whatever. Just reach like for whatever, bro.
Oh, I mean, yeah, if somebody reaching out for a video for free, I mean, I don't know. You gotta revise that question, because I don't want to answer the wrong
I would.
Like,
I'm gonna let somebody else answer it, and I'll come back to it because I'm not understanding.
Yeah. Jeff, I want to let Nate answer it since he was the one that said, you know, he got some do's and don'ts. I want to let him answer that.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I would just say, you know, treat it like, sorry, dog. Treat it like, you know, just kind of, you know, trying to like, not like fake make a friend, but like literally make a friend. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
in terms of like being like letting a person know who you are, and then like being there, being like, you know, not so pushy as in like, yo, like I could do this, but like you could be like, you know, these are the things I do. You know, if you ever need anything, you know, just let me know. Like I'll to help, something like that. You know, just not like spamming people and like stuff like that. Really, like I would say, if somebody doesn't get back to you in like 2 days or something, like it's okay. Like just, you know, chill out. Like maybe hit him in like, you feel me, like 3 more days. You know, it's just like,
yeah,
it's a balance, but just understanding like social cues and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something I went to school for, like communication, like just understanding like how to like converse with people and like how to approach people, and like, you know, don't be too much in people's space, but also just, you know, be able to show them like, you know, you're here if they need you.
All right. Next question is. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I can answer that now because I get what you're saying. I'm annoying, you know. Like I say, like my dad told me, it's not a no until it's a. So you don't count yourself out until somebody literally says no. They're not responding to you. I say like, yo, it can't hurt, because the worst thing that you could say is no. Like starting off, I'm in mad people's DMs. You know what I'm saying? I'm still in mad people's DMs. If someone even presents the slightest opportunity of like, oh, we could potentially do this or whatever, email or whatever, I'm going to chase that lead until it's a no. Till somebody respond to me and be like, oh, it's a dub. So, I mean, for me, you know, like, you know, my thing, I say there's like, you know, I say just keep reaching out, keep going, keep reaching out. It can't hurt until someone literally be like, oh, yo, you're being annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think every situation differs. You feel me? Like in certain fields, you feel me? You have to keep being at it, being, you know, reaching out, not being afraid, you know. And like he said, that's true. The worst thing somebody could say is no.
Yeah, it's definitely not gonna kill you to get a no. Next question from Shakayla, excuse me if I mispronounced that. As creatives, what can we do to make the creative market bigger in our smaller cities / hometowns, so the younger creatives don't feel obligated to have to move to a bigger area such as NY, LA, or ATL?
I think it's I feel like it's on us as far as like the younger generation, who are a lot of us, you know, especially all of us on this panel right now, are young in our mid-20s, to kind of like at some point, I know we all probably have aspirations of going back to our hometown and developing some type of establishment or some type of hub, so people can create, you know, people where we from. So I think, you know what I'm saying, I feel like there's people who's doing stuff like that. I feel like you see people where it's like a J. Cole, after he, you know, he built himself up, and now he's back in North Carolina doing a lot of his creating. You see, I'm sure there's other stories of different people after, you know, they got to a certain level, they're going back to their hometowns and they're going back to the cities that they're from and developing like photo studios, you know, recording studios, you know, sometimes going back and, you know, blessing young kids with equipment like cameras. So I think that's a large part. I mean, obviously, you know what I'm saying, the way, you know, the world's created, like people love the big lights and the big cities. So, you know, your New Yorks, Atlantas, and LAs will always kind of like thrive. But I think it's just on us to, like, you know, once people get in position to be able to take the knowledge that you gain and take it back and develop like, you know, creative hubs in your hometown.
A question from Chloe. How do you make sure the work you've done is positioned in front of the right people you want to work with, not just your friends?
It's that simple. You're gonna have to do something in your life to where you move or make some kind of movement other than what you've been doing. Because obviously what you've been doing is to your friends. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta go out in the world, and that also ties into even to the last question. Is like you can't do nothing for everybody here until you go out and make it for yourself. So you can have that platform to actually make change, or you know what I'm saying? Like you just be here forever. And like it's sad to say, but like, jump. That's what I think.
It's important to do stuff for the people around you too. Like just do it until it hits that ceiling, and you gonna know when it hits that ceiling, where it's like everything start moving in a circle and nothing's really changing for you, whatever, because you gotta get that portfolio some way, somehow. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get that practice. And the best way to do it is with your peers at the time, the people around you. So
yeah, I think obviously when you're trying to take it to the next level, like I said earlier, like when it comes to like research, like no one kind of like trying to find out the people who are in position to kind of like book you for your talent or your creative, or the people who will bring you in, allow you to be a part of or like a project. Like for me, at one point in time, I was trying to reach out to an athlete and I couldn't get through to the athlete directly through socials and whatnot. So I started going and looking and seeing what agency reps that athlete, and then I started to go through social media. Some people post the agency, the companies they work for in their bios, and I ended up seeing someone who was around the same age as me working for that agency, and I DM'd that person, and that person didn't get back to me till like a month later. But once that person got back to me, it started the conversation, and then that person brought me in to style the client I was trying to reach. Obviously, it's hard to reach certain people with such large platforms, so you gotta kind of like reach the little people, kind of see if they maybe have an assistant, the managers. Those are people you want to kind of like execute and try to like really hone in on those type of people.
For sure.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. Am I good to ask the next question?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys believe in backup plans, or do you feel as though they may distract you from your original plan?
I don't believe in backup plans. Like you got a backup plan, and for me that means you don't believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I know. Actually, I know everyone has different situations. Some people might be taking care of their family, or anything like that. I feel like even if you're doing something else that's not what you want to do, like always have that in mind. Like you working like some job that you don't want to work, and you trying to push forward in like some creative, or just get into the field that you're trying to get in. Like just make sure you put in make sure you put them hours in to do what you want to do, on top of like giving all them hours to someone else at the same time. But always keep in mind like your main goal.
Mm-hmm. Cool. How do you choose your interns? What's important qualities when looking at someone's portfolio, specifically styling?
I mean, in styling, what I've seen a lot of people don't really check portfolio, and I say that so I don't want to hinder anyone who feel like they don't have a portfolio when they're reaching out. I think in styling, this is a very hands-on industry, so a lot of people just looking for people who are just willing to work. This is very hands-on. The timing of my work is not like constructing or 9 to 5. Sometimes there's been time I've been in and fitting at midnight, 1 a.m. with a client fitting for clothes. So it's like, are you willing to be available to be up at 1 a.m. and then and to finish, by the time we finish the fitting and pack up and leave where we at, it's 2, 3 a.m. So it's just, are you willing to work? Are you willing to be available when, someone is in need? And like one thing I've seen is once you get in the door and you show you ready to work hard, you're just going to keep going up. Those are people who definitely stick around in this game.
Right. Do you feel like college benefited you where you are today? I'm asking for anybody that went to college.
I mean, I can answer. Yeah, you know, I feel like I went to school for business admin. I can't say that I learned anything from college. I mean, I'm not going to take that away because you do learn stuff from college. I feel like if I would have went to film school, if I would have, you know, went to something specific to like what I actually wanted to do now, I probably would have learned a lot. But the main thing college did teach me was it taught me how to be by myself. You know, it taught me how to, you know, go out and interact with just, you know, kind of just be yourself. It put me around a lot of people that, you know, I was, you know, able to talk to and communicate with and stuff like that. And I feel like, you know, in my experience with college, I say like the most beneficial thing was the social aspect of it, you know, just meeting all the people and talking to you and shit, bro. That's just as important as getting the actual degree, if you ask me.
Yep. Agreed.
Agreed.
Do you think you should start a website when 85% of your work is assistant styling work?
Yes, I think you should. I started a website ever since I was in college when it was like really, really small products, and we look back on our work now, and obviously that work was trash. And then I kept that website and promoted my assistant work. That's how the name of the game goes. Once you moving up, somebody wants to know what talent have you been around, what type of situations you've been with, and you know, I think that definitely helps.
So, all right, we're gonna take one more question. It's kind of hard because we got a couple. Where do you guys see yourselves in 10 years? Don't all speak at once.
All right, I'll go. I want to do films. I know that's my life path, and I know that's where my life is going within the next like 5-6 years. It's owning like a full production company, kind of like how Jordan Peele is now with Monkey Paw, and Spike Lee with, you know, 40 Acres and a Mule and stuff like that. Like, I know what type of stories that, you know, I feel like our culture is missing. You know, I feel like, you know, just to get even more in detail, I feel like a lot of like, you know, a lot of these, you know, I feel like Jordan Peele right now, you know, for me is like, you know, he was able to create something that wasn't like slavery movie or you know, or just being just full coonery or anything like that. He's been able to just make like, you know, just cool, just make like something that's like really cool and just applies to everyone. And, you know, I want to do Issa Rae the same way, you know, like I want to do, for me, I want to do, you know, add more of that into the atmosphere as far as like my goals and where I see myself. So that's where I'm going.
Me personally, in 10 years, I've always had a dream of wanting to work with a client roster of like all A-list talent. Like that's like been a career goal of mine. The dream is like if I have like 10 clients and they all like, say I have 3 A-list actors, so I'm styling for the Oscars, the Emmys, the Golden Globes. But then if I also have 3 artists, I'm still styling music videos and photo shoots, magazine shoots, and then working with 3 prominent athletes. That's always kind of like been a big dream of mine, to work at that capacity and then be under my styling company. So obviously it won't be just me by myself, but I envision building out a team of assistant stylists under me to help facilitate that. So that's a big goal of mine.
Sorry.
I'll probably say in the next 10 years, just continuing to be consistent and, you know what I'm saying, working on big projects and just after 10 years, I'll look back and say, yo, I worked on an album that influenced the generation. That's what I want. Like, that's what I want. It don't even got to be, I don't know, 10 years. Like, I probably worked on a bajillion songs by him. But I want to at least be like, damn, I got a damn under my belt. I got a butterfly under my belt. Like, I got something that, like, you know, like I said, just influenced a generation of people to feel, love, express themselves in any possible way they can. And also owning a studio, owning multiple studios or whatever.
All right. Yeah, I think for me, you know, 10 years, just continuous like growth, you know, upward progression, you know, like continue being a work in progress, you know, continue understanding like, you know, you can always get better, but you know, you do what you can. I think for me, yeah, it's like I hope to, with my writing, expand it kind of beyond some like Donald Glover, in which, take it into different mediums and like film, TV, screenwriting, but, also still helping out with music and, kind of shifting into more A&R role and like creative direction in terms of like bringing that storytelling to a higher level and like being able to build people's narratives and like artists and like fashion people or like whoever it is, even like young activists, organizers, like trying to pay it forward too. Like I'm trying to pay it forward, and help people who are trying to get in the game, maybe don't know how to, or like have opportunities to, stuff like that. Keep doing that. And yeah, just to bring it back also to the question about like college, I think that's like an interesting question for me because when I was in school, it was great for like, whatever, like practical purposes and stuff, but it just allowed me the time and space to like find what I like, have these conversations with these people. Like you come to this is the last place you're going to be in where you have like this specific common goal with everybody around you. So it's like a lot of different conversations, a lot of different shit that goes on. So taking that experience, like that experience is what, will build you more than the academics itself, like the experience itself will build you into a person and build you into like stuff like that. So I think college, even though you might not necessarily need it, if you are in it, like take advantage of like understanding the space you're in and the time you're in and like that opportunity to build these communities and stuff like that. But yeah, just going forward, hopefully, keep writing, build that into something further and just keep helping put artists on and like do what I can.
Tight, man. It's really good. To wrap everything up, man, I want to thank everybody for coming. I think this was very inspirational to a lot of people that's on here. I know a lot of people have questions that they're not able to ask directly to people sometimes. But before we go, I want to get into the Know Your Rights camp. And we're going to put up a screen where you can donate to it. And I'm going to just give you a brief description of what it is. So Know Your Rights camp. This camp dedicates itself to advancing the liberation and well-being of Black and Brown communities through education, self-well-being of Black and Brown communities through self-empowerment, mass mobilization, and the creation of new systems that elevate the next generation of change leaders. These camps reside in Miami, Baltimore, and Atlanta. So you see the screen up on here right now. You could donate to it. And also in the chat right now, if you enjoyed the talk, man, please feel free to tag For the Future, by the Future. And the @ is Be Social Please on IG. They're gonna pick a winner from the people that tag it for a gift from Social Status. Yeah, man. If y'all want to say anything before we dip, I want to appreciate y'all for coming. Thanks for everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, I want to make sure I connect with everybody on this panel, so we'll just put that out there.
Yeah. Let's make a group after this.
What is that?
I said let's make a group after this.
All right, bet.
Yep.
For sure. Let's do that.
I think this shit is super tight. Everybody coming together to do this, so you know what I'm saying? All of us as well, bro. We gotta stay tapped in. Y'all are amazing, bro. A lot of y'all like, I'm just getting hip to, like, you know what I'm saying? It's cool as fuck to just see like other Black creators doing their thing. So, bro, tap in with me, bro. Oh yeah.
Sure. I think I follow everybody. I think I gotta follow you, Daniel, but I think I got everybody else. But it was a pleasure, man. I appreciate y'all.
Hell yeah,
everybody.
All right, peace, fellas.
everybody. Dope. Thank y'all.
Peace.